Okay, so picture this. It's dinner time, you're craving pasta,
Mm,
you go to turn on your gas stove, you don't think anything of it, right?
right.
But behind that really simple act is this surprisingly complex system, and making sure that can even happen at all, you guessed it.
Yeah,
Gas scheduling representatives. That's what we're diving deep into today,
that's right.
with some insights from RoleCatcher to uncover what these kind of energy heroes really do.
Yeah, it's really easy to overlook all of the intricate things that have to happen just so that
Cool.
you can have that steady flow of natural gas.
Totally. It's like we flip a switch and boom,
Yeah.
we've got energy.
Right.
But it's so much more than that. And these gas scheduling representatives, they're not just like stuck in an office somewhere. RoleCatcher's career guides were saying that this role can even mean going out and doing some field work.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating how they're kind of this bridge between the pipelines, the technology, and then just like the everyday person using it, right?
Right.
They're the conductors of this whole energy orchestra, making sure that homes and businesses have gas when they need it.
So they're like the air traffic controllers of natural gas.
Yeah,
Making sure everything runs smoothly and safely.
exactly. They're constantly juggling supply and demand, making sure there's enough pipeline capacity, taking weather conditions into account,
Wow.
even things like scheduled maintenance. And get this.
Okay.
They're not just, using calculators and calendars. RoleCatcher talks about how they're actually using some really sophisticated software and systems to monitor and adjust gas flow in real time.
Wait, so we're talking high tech for something as like essential as gas distribution. That's really cool.
It is. It's a super dynamic field. It requires a deep understanding of the energy sector, obviously,
Yeah.
but also you got to have a knack for utilizing some pretty cutting-edge technology.
This is already way more complex and interesting than I thought it would be.
Right.
But I want to break down those specifics even more. What skills are we actually talking about here? Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, but you mentioned skills, so what skills are we actually talking about here? It can't just be all like algorithms and pipelines, right? What does RoleCatcher say about the people part of this job?
Oh, you're absolutely right. It really is about finding the right balance between hard skills and soft skills. And the guide really emphasizes that while it's obviously super important to be able to analyze data and understand all those complex systems,
Right.
you also got to be able to communicate
Right.
and collaborate effectively.
So not just like a tech whiz, but someone who can actually explain what's going on to like
Yeah.
regulators or engineers,
Exactly.
people who might not be as familiar with these processes.
Exactly. You have to remember they're working with people in the field, like technicians, engineers, but then also you've got regulatory bodies to think about.
Yeah.
So you've got all these different levels of expertise.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And you have to be able to bridge those gaps
Totally.
and get everyone on the same page.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I imagine things don't always go according to plan in a field like this. So what happens when there's like an unexpected pipeline issue or a sudden surge in demand? Oh, yeah.
Or even like, I don't know, a cyber attack.
Right. That's when all of those skills really get put to the test.
Yeah.
That's when you really see what a gas scheduling representative is made of.
Wow.
RoleCatcher describes it as this really high-pressure environment. You got to think on your feet, you got to be adaptable, and you definitely need nerves of steel.
Yeah. It sounds super stressful. Like they have to be expert problem solvers,
Right.
making huge decisions with potentially huge consequences.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then on top of all that, don't forget about the regulations.
Oh, right.
There's this whole other layer of compliance standards and safety protocols. So they're constantly having to make sure that everything they do is meeting those really strict requirements.
It's like they're juggling like 1,000 puzzle pieces at once.
Right. Making sure everything fits perfectly to keep the gas flowing, but then also they've got to stay on top of all these safety and regulatory guidelines.
Exactly. It's a lot.
Yeah, neck pressure.
No pressure, but they're the unsung heroes, making sure that you and I can just like go about our day.
Right.
Not even have to think about where that energy is coming from.
I'm definitely feeling very appreciative of my gas stove right now, I gotta say.
Right.
But I do want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the bigger picture. I mean, this is a job, obviously, but what does it look like long term? Where can this role lead in the energy landscape as it's evolving?
Yeah. So we've definitely established that gas scheduling representatives are kind of these unsung heroes when it comes to energy. But what does the future actually hold for them? I mean, is this a job with any staying power, or are we talking about something that might get automated away? That's a really good question. And I know a lot of people are asking that these days, especially when you think about all the advancements in AI and automation. But actually, RoleCatcher's analysis points to a really positive outlook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear that, actually, considering How much tech is already involved? What makes them so confident?
Well, it really comes down to that human element that we were talking about before. Because as much as we can use AI and these sophisticated algorithms to make things more efficient,
Yeah.
they can't fully replace the critical thinking and the adaptability and those strong communication skills that are so essential in this field.
That makes sense. Like when something unexpected happens, you need someone who can think on their feet,
Exactly.
make a judgment call,
Right.
and then communicate that to the right people.
Yeah, exactly. No algorithm can really replace that, at least not yet.
Not yet.
Right. And the other thing is the energy sector is constantly evolving.
Right.
You've got the rise of renewables, changing regulations,
Mhm.
always new infrastructure popping up. So there's always something new to learn and adapt to. And that's where humans really excel.
It's like being a chess player,
Yeah,
always having to think a few steps ahead,
exactly.
anticipating those challenges, and being ready to adjust your strategy in real time.
I like that analogy a lot. And here's another thing to consider, and that's the transition to cleaner energy.
Okay.
Because while some people might think that that's a threat to gas scheduling representatives, it's actually going to create a ton of new opportunities.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
think about it like you're going to need someone who can make sure that biogas or hydrogen is flowing smoothly into that existing energy grid. So who better to do that than people who already understand how energy distribution works?
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. So it's really not a dead end. It's more like this winding road with new paths kind of popping up all the time.
Yeah.
And for anyone listening who's interested in exploring those new paths, I do want to mention again RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools because they're so helpful.
Yeah, I was going to say, this sounds like a career where having a guide would be super useful.
Totally. They've got resources for like everything you can think of, like identifying your transferable skills, tailoring your resume, even connecting with people who are already working in renewable energy distribution.
Wow, so it's like having a career compass
Yes,
guiding you through this whole new world.
exactly.
Well, I think it's safe to say we definitely unearthed a hidden gem today. I don't think I'll ever look at my gas stove the same way again.
It really makes you appreciate those everyday things
Right,
and the people working hard behind the scenes to make them happen.
That's right. So, to everyone listening, next time you're cooking a nice meal, thanks to the magic of natural gas, take a moment to appreciate the gas scheduling representatives out there making it all possible.
And hey, maybe this deep dive inspired you to explore a career path you'd never even considered before. The future of energy definitely has a lot to offer.
It certainly does. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive. But until next time, keep those brains engaged and never stop exploring.